I'm so excited. My question is about imagination.
Can you hear?
Can you hear me?
Breathe. There you go.
My question is about imagination and how it relates to the law of attraction, and essentially to try and use it as a tool. So, if I have an image or a picture in my imagination, can I vibrate with that picture? Is that like thinking in pictures? Is imagination thinking in pictures?
Imagination is, that's a very good definition of it. Imagination is let's start another place. What's the difference between living reality and dreaming, like in your dreamscape when you sleep at night?
I don't see a difference because I've been in places in my life where I have lived in my imagination, like before I go to sleep.
Well, the reason we ask the question, and just as a sort of basis, everyone sort of kind of feel, when you are looking around, here you are in what you call reality. So you're looking around, the room is big, the chandeliers are beautiful, there are cameras around, and there are some big pictures of us, and there is Jerry, and here is a stage of sorts, and so you are interpreting this time-space reality through your physical senses. Mm-hmm. When you sleep at night and your eyes are closed, you are still interpreting a vibration and translating it into a form of reality. And we just want you to take it a step further and realize that anything that you are seeing in your mind's eye is an interpreting of vibration. Now, but we want to put it into the category of interpreting vibration, and we want to say that whether you are interpreting what you call reality, or whether you are interpreting what we are calling dreamscape reality, or whether you are interpreting what you are calling imagination, it is still interpreting. So now let's use the word interpreting and creating simultaneously, or to mean the same thing. Now, many people would say, no, Abraham, there's a distinction between my imagination, especially if I'm imagining what I want, while I might be observing what I don't want. And we say, but it's still interpreting. Your observation of everything is based upon your vibrational stance, which causes the platform from which you see it. We just sort of want to get that out there. No two people are interpreting any reality in exactly the same way. You have similarities. That's why there's this platform that we are acknowledging is your reality. But if we could get over the hump of reality being so real, and we could call it all just vibrating or interpreting, then there wouldn't be such a big jump for people. They would be able to more easily expect things that they are imagining to become reality more quickly. We've been talking about getting into the vortex and doing all of your affirming from inside the vortex. And by affirming, we usually mean verbally making statements of what you choose to live, affirming it as you want it to be. But there are a lot of people affirming a lot as they don't want it to be, as they're talking about it, because anytime you're talking, you are affirming, you're making it firmer, you're making it more a vibrational pattern. So we would like to take what you're talking about into a little further advantage to all of you by acknowledging that imagination is visual affirming.
Yes.
Visual affirming. So now the question is, am I doing my imagining, my visual affirming, my practicing of my vibration from inside or outside the vortex? Am I practicing am I expecting another bad breakfast? It's imagination. It's using imagination. It's using imagination to anticipate another bad breakfast, or it's using my imagination to anticipate a good breakfast, a better breakfast. And so what you're helping us to pinpoint here, and it's really something that you might want to consider, is how far from reality are you able to imagine? That's really the crux of deliberate creation. How far from reality are you able to imagine? And we want to say to you, if you're trying to imagine a solution from inside the problem, you're not going to get anywhere.
Right.
You have to be you have to be free of the vibration of the problem in order to imagine very far from it. Right. This is good, isn't it?
I love this.
So the let's keep going. There's a big vibrational difference between a problem and a solution.
Correct.
Big vibrational difference between a question and an answer.
Yes.
So what you have to do is decide, when Esther visits with us, she can't pose the question and receive the answer in the real time as it is happening here. Right now, she's tuned to the answer.
Right.
So you pose the question, she's tuned to the vibration of Abraham, so the answer comes forth. Mm-hmm. The other day, Jerry got up early and he was poking around at some things he was thinking about, and when Esther got up, he could hardly wait to talk to her about it. And as soon as he began talking about it, within 30 seconds of begin talking about it, Esther said, "I think Abraham wants to talk to you about this." Well, it wasn't that we were knocking on her door,
This after-school
wanting to get in on the conversation. It was that he had done such a good job of queuing up his question that the solution, the answer was all queued up too. Mm-hmm. So when Esther awakened, not having been part of the vibration of the question, she immediately tuned into the vibration of the answer. You see what we're getting at? Mm-hmm. So, imagination. How far from reality can I allow my imagination to go? And we say, if you're out of the vortex, not far at all. In fact, not anywhere. Mm-hmm. But if you are in the vortex, then your imagination can explore all of the details of everything that you've put there incrementally. And so what imagination really is, it's sort of like the premonition that we started with today, the subject of the premonition. What imagination is, and it falls in the same category of inspiration. Mm-hmm. Imagination is tuning in to the vibration of something not yet manifested in such a vivid way that I'm able to envision it. That's what imagination is.
Correct.
So there's out of the vortex imagination, worried about what might happen, what bad things might happen, or there's inside the vortex imagination. Mm-hmm. Imagery, translation, pre-manifestation translation. So what's reality? Reality is what so many people have imagined that now many people are observing, and so you say, well, we all look and we can see that this is red and this is blue and this is long and this is short and this is this and this is this. Mm-hmm. And because we are agreeing on it, we call it reality. And we say, if we were standing in your physical shoes, we wouldn't get too hung up on calling anything physical reality. We would take pleasure from our imagination in any way we can. We would get into the vortex and just let our mind go and practice the imagery of anything wanted until we'd trained ourselves into the vibration of it so succinctly that now it has no choice other than to manifest.
Well, I have those references in my life because there have been things that I have imagined with such clarity, and from the physical plane, from everybody else's point of view, there was no way possible that this could have happened. But
well, the real power in imagination comes when, if you could say, I use my imagination to thrill myself in the vortex, then we say you are using it in the most powerful, beneficial way. Uh-huh. If you say, I use my imagination to try to create things that are not yet created, we say you just shot yourself in the foot. Mm-hmm. Because in your wanting to create something that isn't yet, you've introduced the it isn't yetness to the vibration. Now the vibration isn't pure, and neither is your imagery.
Mm-hmm. So,
You see, what we're really talking about here, or at least what we want to really talk about here, is that
because you know,
as human creators, you keep wanting to get into the what should I do about it phase. In other words, you want to move your imagination into action. And we want to say to you, you never have to move your imagination into action. You don't have to move your imagination into action in order for everything that you imagine to come about. It's just fun to act in harmony with imagination. It's really fun to get your action in on it. But imagination, it is the imagery, it is the vibration that accomplishes your point of attraction, which causes the creation of it. Consistent imagery that doesn't defy itself. You know why things don't happen for a lot of people? They want it, but they want it, but they want it, but they don't have it. They want it, but they don't have it. They imagine having it, but they notice not having it. They imagine having it, but they notice not having it. So they never get pure enough in their vibration of what they want for the universal forces to actualize around it. You got to have clean, pure, non-diluted, non-resisted imagination in order for it to manifest. But it doesn't have to be pure in order to give you pleasure. So if you take pleasure from it, 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 till you get to the point that it doesn't have to manifest because it's so pleasurable even without manifesting, then it will manifest.
Ooh.
And humans say, well, that stinks.
That's kind of...
Why won't it manifest when I could benefit from it manifesting? And we say, because manifestation comes on the heels of vibration that is consistent, wanted or unwanted. You get what you think about whether you want it or not. You get what you consistently think about whether you want it or not. You get what you imagine whether you want it or not. You get what you consistently imagine whether you want it or not. And what's happening with so many humans are pretty void of imagination. You've got the observation thing going on so well. You're such avid observers that you almost offer no vibration apart from what you're observing. And that's why things progress slowly for you.
Well, that in part is a challenge for me. I consider myself fairly imaginative, and yet the piece that I need to refine is staying more committed to the picture in my imagination, or the vibration.
Not really.
No.
What you want to do, what you want to be more committed to is the feeling of the imagination, not the picture.
Okay.
In other words, because imagination is like reading a book. Imagination, you can focus on wanted and unwanted. Imagination is just getting, in other words, were your kids ever late coming home and then you imagined them in a ditch under a car, rolled over with water running through their windows? In other words,
goes in a bad place.
You always you can't stop imagery because you see, we want to break this to you gently, but this reality that you think is so real isn't. This reality that you think is so real is changing constantly, changing, but it's changing to the vibration that you've got going on. So it's changing to more of the same in most cases, because you're observing, it's changing to more of that. You're observing, it's changing to more of that. So where imagination comes in is thinking about something other than what is.